Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. In a federal courtroom in Manhattan, during one of the most closely followed trials in entertainment history, something unexpected happened. It wasn't a headline or a leak, it was a name that quietly appeared in the official case file for the first time. This isn't a rumor. This is what happens when whispers make it into the record. For the first time, Zendaya's name appeared in the official documents, and the name directly linked to hers? Beyoncé Knowles Carter. A sealed envelope marked A-List Supplemental Reference ZNC was submitted into the record. Inside was a sworn statement from 2019, written by a former Roc Nation assistant. Her name was hidden, but her access was clear. She had seen everything from Diddy's private guest lists to Beyoncé's most secret events. And it all started with one simple line. In October 2018, Beyoncé warned Zendaya not to go upstairs. No details, no reason, just that. Here's what we know. It started with an invitation. It was described as a private mentorship weekend, the kind filled with buzzwords like empowerment, networking, creative energy. All the fancy phrases meant to make something seem elite. This invite came from Kohl's Enterprises. But it wasn't just another retreat in the hills. It was in Malibu, at a property hidden from public records. The house was owned by 3 different shell companies. No photos, no listing. Nothing to trace. Zendaya, 22 at the time, had just come off a wave of Disney fame. She was in that tricky space, no longer a child star, but not quite a power player either. Still rising, still trusting the process. So when the invite came, she said yes. Why wouldn't she? It promised everything she thought she needed. Connections, visibility, the next big step. But here's what no one told her. There would be an NDA. Her phone would be locked up the second she arrived. The security wouldn't be VIP level, would be a total lockdown. But what really matters, what changes the story, is what happened before she even got there. 2 nights before the retreat, she went to a Tom Ford after-party. It seemed normal, just a glamorous crowd acting relaxed. Zendaya stood by the bar sipping ginger ale, trying to stay aware. Then, out of nowhere, Beyoncé walks over. No team, no spotlight, just her. Calm, direct, and focused. She gently touches Zendaya's wrist, looks her straight in the eye, and says, clear as day, don't go upstairs, no matter what they say. That was it. No context, no explanation. Just a warning. Zendaya let out an awkward little laugh. Not because it was funny, but because what else can you do when Beyoncé tells you something like that? But Beyoncé didn't laugh. She didn't smile or move. She just leaned in, lowered her voice, and added, not everyone who goes up comes back the same. Then she vanished into the crowd, like nothing had happened. Now, here's the thing. Zendaya didn't tell anyone. Not her team, not her friends. She didn't even write it down. She just packed her bag, got in the car when they told her, and 2 days later, she arrived at that estate in Malibu, still wondering what Beyoncé meant. We didn't know it yet, but that sentence, it wasn't a metaphor. It was a map. The air in Malibu felt different, not just poetically, literally. Zendaya said that as soon as she stepped out of the car, the silence was too clean. No ocean breeze, no birds. Just stillness, like the house itself was holding its breath. 2 men in black suits greeted her. Not security guards, not assistants, the kind of men who don't introduce themselves. They just nodded and opened the gate. Behind them, the estate stretched out like a scene from a music video. Modern, cold, polished. Everything looked expensive, but nothing felt welcoming. As soon as she stepped inside, they asked for her phone. No smile, no explanation. Just, we'll return this after the weekend. Then came the NDA, 4 pages printed on thick, fancy paper. No time to read it, just sign. Zendaya looked around. Other girls were already inside, sipping herbal tea and flipping through shiny folders. Everyone looked relaxed. Some even looked excited. She told herself she was overthinking. Maybe Beyoncé misunderstood. Maybe this was fine. Then came the packing list. It had been emailed a day before. Short and simple. Yoga clothes, swimsuit, neutral evening wear. But the last line stood out. Black outfit will be provided on site. No brand, no size details, no reason. Just that. And it made her stomach twist. Still, she brushed it off. She was here to learn, connect, grow, or at least that's what she told herself. Day 1 flew by in a blur. Mindfulness workshops, a spiritual cleansing with crystals, and a panel led by a producer she barely recognized from TV credits. Everything felt planned, controlled. No deep talks, no real bonds, just smiles, photo ops, and buzzwords like frequency and activation. But everything changed on the second night. After dinner, no phones, no pictures, no noise. An assistant whispered in her ear, "You've been selected for the blessing ceremony." She paused. "Blessing?" The assistant just smiled. "It's upstairs, inner circle only." And there it was again. Upstairs. That word hit different now. Zendaya asked, "Who's upstairs?" The reply came like a riddle. "Only the ones who understand power." Her body reacted before her mind could. Tight chest, cold shiver. She smiled politely, nodded, and calmly walked down the hall, straight into the bathroom. Then she locked the door and froze. No signal, no phone, no way to text anyone for help. She stared at her reflection, tried to breathe, tried to tell herself it was all in her head. But it wasn't. What happened next proved everything. She didn't go back to her room. She didn't grab her things. She walked straight to the front. "You door." Security stepped in, not aggressively, just enough to block her path. They asked, "Is something wrong?" Zendaya didn't blink. She looked them in the eye and said, "Bay sent me." And they stepped aside. No argument, no questions, just a quiet understanding that whatever happened, it was enough. She walked out alone. No one stopped her. She never returned. That should have been the end of it. But for Zendaya, Malibu didn't stay behind. It followed her. The next morning, she showed up on set like nothing had happened. Hair and makeup, wardrobe, call time, smile on cue. But in her mind, she was still in that hallway, still asking the same question. What was upstairs? Inside her trailer, something was waiting. No assistant, no delivery, just a red envelope. No stamp, no name, just one number written in pencil. Her trailer number. She picked it up slowly. It felt heavier than it looked. Inside was a thick folded sheet of paper. Nothing else. When she opened it, there wasn't a message, just a list. No title, no intro, just names. First initials, last names. Some she recognized, some she didn't. But one thing stood out. Her name was there. And it had been crossed out in red ink. The names below hers were still clean, still untouched. That's when she knew. Someone wanted her to see it. Not just that her name had been added, but that someone had made the choice to remove it, to mark it, to send a message. Her hands shook. She stared at the page for 10 straight minutes. No threat, no instructions, just a receipt. A week later, her team got a call. A private ambassadorship offer, no press release, no sponsor logos, just a legacy empowerment fund, and a 7-figure discretion clause. She declined. 2 days later, a magazine cover shoot was canceled. No apology, no reason, just erased from the schedule. And still, she stayed quiet. No tweets, no cryptic posts, no hints in interviews. She just kept going, or tried to. But by 2023, everything changed. The Diddy investigations went public, and in those leaked documents, one phrase stood out: ritual parties. That was her breaking point. She picked up the phone, called her lawyer, and said, "If they start naming names, mine was on that list." That's when she made her first formal statement, filed under protective order, labeled Exhibit 39D. She wrote, "I was invited into something I didn't understand. I walked away before I could, but I remember the names. I remember the hallway, and I remember the smell of the second floor, sweat and steel." She ended with, "I didn't leave because I was brave. I left because someone told me not to go upstairs. It had been nearly 5 years since the Malibu retreat. She had stayed quiet. She had stayed safe until the leak. In March 2023, a 23-second security camera clip was anonymously uploaded to a foreign server. The timestamp, October 14, 2018, the exact weekend of the so-called retreat. The footage was grainy, low-res, but it was clear. Zendaya walking out the front door, fast, focused, determined, not running, not scared, just leaving. But right before the frame cut off, someone else appeared. A tall woman, all in black, her face just out of view. But if you knew the industry, if you knew the timeline, then you knew exactly who it was. She went upstairs, and no one has seen her in public since late 2019. The court sealed the video, but Zendaya confirmed it. That was me. That was the night. And I know who followed. Then the package arrived, 3 weeks later. No return address, no sender name, just one word handwritten on the front. They've forgotten. Inside was a single USB stick and a note, typed in old school, courier font. You left the room, but the room remembers you. Her team begged her not to open it, but she did. The footage was raw, unedited. It showed a private room, handles, cushions. 3 women in black robes sat cross-legged. No one spoke at first. The camera didn't move. The sound was faint. But then a voice cut through. Number 4 didn't return. Will adjust. A man's voice. Familiar. Then laughter. Then silence. Zendaya didn't tell anyone right away. She waited until June 2023, when Cassie's unsealed testimony was released. And this isn't where the story ends. It's just where it goes quiet. The files may be sealed, the names blacked out, but the signs are still there. The invitations with no senders, the names added, then crossed out in red. In this industry, silence is the most expensive currency, and those who speak, they don't always get a second chance. So the real question isn't what happened. It's what's still happening. What's really upstairs? And why do some never come back the same? You've heard the story. Now follow the echoes, watch closer, ask louder, because next time, the list might grow, and your name might be on it.